Chapter 1. The Silent Canvas of the Cosmos. You drift gently, as though sleep itself has loosened its grip, and now you float in a sea wider than thought. The dark is not heavy here. It is soft, like a blanket woven from stillness, spreading in every direction. Your eyes, unhurried, begin to notice glimmers. At first they seem scattered without order, like dust upon a window pane. Then slowly they sharpen into stars, points of fire suspended in an infinite hush. The canvas of the night sky stretches beyond what you can hold, and yet you do not feel lost. Instead, you are wrapped in the simple wonder of being here, inside this vast dome where silence and light lean toward each other. Each star you see is more than a distant jewel. It is a sun burning across impossible distances, older than any memory, older even than the soil of Earth itself. Some of these lights began their journey before life ever stirred in oceans, before mountains rose, before rivers carved valleys. And now their patient photons find you. Imagine them as ancient messengers. They travel across empty gulfs that seem to have nothing, yet hold everything. They arrive without haste, touching your eyes as though reminding you, you are part of this story too. The space between stars may look hollow, like blank strokes on a canvas, but science tells us it is not nothing. Invisible rivers of particles flow there. Clouds of gas drift slowly, so immense that whole solar systems could hide inside them. Magnetic fields stretch like unseen threads, guiding and bending charged dust across spans so wide your mind struggles to picture them. Even in its quietest corners, the universe is alive with a hidden hum. You breathe, and with each breath, you realize you are not separate from the silence. Your body, small and fragile, is made of the very atoms forged in those faraway fires. The carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones. Each was born in the heart of a star long before Earth existed. When those stars ended their lives in explosions, they scattered their elements outward, sowing the seeds of future worlds. You carry their legacy within you without effort, simply by existing. Pause and feel that connection. A star once collapsed, and you are here to breathe. A star once burned, and now you are here to think. The universe does not keep its distance. It flows through you, shaping every heartbeat. As you drift further in thought, the canvas widens. You realize there are galaxies upon galaxies, swirling like silent whirlpools of light. Each one holds billions of suns and likely countless planets. Some of those planets may glow with seas and skies. Some may lie barren and frozen. Some may wait quietly, carrying life that watches its own stars and wonders if it is alone. The scale is almost beyond grasp, yet here you are, allowed to glimpse it. Your mind becomes both small and immense at once. Small because you are a single observer on one world among billions. Immense because through thought and imagination, you are able to hold galaxies within awareness. Science often measures space in light years. The distance light travels in 1 year, racing faster than anything we know. And yet, even that speed is slow when compared to the distances between stars. Some are tens, hundreds, or thousands of light years away. Galaxies are millions, even billions of light years apart. When you look into the night sky, you are not looking at what is happening now, but at what once was. The light you see is a memory, arriving long after it began. To gaze upward is to peer into history itself, the sky becoming a living archive of time. You feel time stretch around you, not like the ticking of a clock, but like a river without end. And in this river, Silence is not absence. It is presence. It is possibility. Listen to it, not with your ears, but with something quieter inside. The silence of space is not an empty void, but a breath held between stars. There is no air to carry sound, so explosions and collisions happen wordlessly, unfolding in pure stillness. Imagine two galaxies colliding, countless stars weaving past each other, gas clouds igniting in bursts of new suns, all in a silence so deep it feels sacred. The cosmos moves without needing to shout, and here you are, suspended in this awareness. You begin to sense that silence is not something to escape, but something to enter, like water welcoming you in. Within it, your thoughts slow. They become gentler, rounder, less hurried. You are not racing to know everything. You are simply being with the mystery. The mystery grows richer when you think of the hidden forces at work. Gravity, the quiet hand that holds galaxies together, threads through space without end. You cannot see it, but you can feel its truth. It is what binds planets in orbit, what draws moons around worlds, what causes stars to swirl in spirals of light. Without gravity, the canvas would scatter apart. With it, the painting holds its form, a harmony drawn by an invisible brush. Then there is dark matter, unseen and strange, outnumbering ordinary matter by far. Though invisible, it is necessary. It provides the extra gravity that keeps galaxies from flying apart. And beyond that, dark energy, the mysterious push that drives the universe to expand faster and faster. You cannot touch it, yet it shapes everything. The canvas is not still. It is stretching continuously, like a breath inhaled without end. Your body rests, your mind wanders, and you drift with the universe itself. The stars are not far away. They are around you, within you, beneath the quiet rhythm of your pulse. You feel the hush of distance, the gentle reminder that silence is not empty, but filled with threads of connection waiting to be seen. This canvas, so vast, might feel overwhelming. But notice, the more you gaze, the calmer you become. The enormity does not demand action. It simply asks you to witness, to lie here, floating, and let the stars be stars. You do not need to grasp it all. The cosmos is not a puzzle to be solved in one night. It is a place to rest in, a reminder that you belong to something infinitely wider than yourself. You breathe again. Each inhale is a tide, each exhale a release. In this rhythm, the universe feels less like an abstraction and more like a companion. It whispers that you are not apart from it. You are it, in a form that can dream and wonder. And as you linger in this silence, a gentle question begins to rise. If the canvas is filled with such mystery, what might it mean to listen more deeply, not just with your eyes, but with senses still undiscovered? Last lines. The stars remain, patient in their light, while silence stretches across the canvas. And you, suspended here, begin to wonder what else might be hidden in the spaces between sound. A question that leads softly into the next unfolding chapter. Chapter 2, A Universe That Stretches. The silence holds you. You are still floating within that vast dark canvas, the stars scattered like jeweled brushstrokes across velvet. Yet something begins to stir in your awareness, something subtle, something you cannot see directly. It is not the stars themselves that move, but the very fabric beneath them. Imagine the universe as a great cloth stretched out in every direction. The stars and galaxies are beads resting upon it. Now, slowly, invisibly, the cloth begins to expand. The beads do not crawl outward on their own. Instead, the space between them grows, gently carrying them apart. This is what scientists discovered in the early 20th century when they looked deeper into the sky with telescopes. They noticed that galaxies were not fixed in place. Instead, their light shifted toward the red end of the spectrum, like a song was lowering its pitch as it drifts away. That shift was a clue. Galaxies are receding, not because they rush through space like comets, but because space itself is stretching. You picture it now as though lying on the surface of a balloon. At first it is small, smooth, quiet. Then, breath by breath, it swells. If tiny dots are drawn on the balloon, they appear to move away from each other as the balloon grows. Yet they are not crawling across the rubber. The rubber itself is what stretches. So too with galaxies in space. No central point, no edge where the stretching stops. Just a continuous, gentle expanse everywhere. You breathe and the metaphor deepens. The inhale of the cosmos is slow, unimaginably slow by human rhythm, yet steady. With each tick of cosmic time, galaxies drift farther apart, like boats carried outward by an invisible tide. You drift with them, and as you do, you begin to sense the paradox. The night sky looks still, serene, unchanged. Stars glimmer with quiet patience. Yet beneath this calm, the universe is moving in a grand, ceaseless motion. Expansion is not loud, not violent. It is a whisper of motion carried everywhere at once. Your mind lingers on this question. What is it that drives such stretching? Why does the universe expand instead of standing still? Science offers glimpses, though not final answers. One story begins with the Big Bang, the great beginning, not an explosion within space, but the sudden creation of space itself. From that initial moment, expansion began. At first, unimaginably rapid. Then it slowed. Later, something strange happened. Expansion began to speed up again, as if a hidden hand were pushing galaxies apart faster and faster. That hidden hand is what scientists call dark energy. The term sounds mysterious, and it is. Dark energy does not glow, does not interact with matter in ordinary ways. It cannot be bottled, cannot be touched. It is simply inferred, a presence felt only through its effect, the acceleration of cosmic expansion. And here is the wonder, you're living inside this mystery. You, lying quietly, drifting on the canvas of stars, are inside a universe where the stage itself stretches, carrying everything along. You cannot see the stretching directly, just as a fish may not see the water it swims in. But it is there underneath every galaxy, every breath you take. Pause and imagine yourself shrinking down, smaller and smaller until you could stand upon a single photon of light. You ride it outward, streaming from a star. It does not race across a fixed stage, but travels through a stage that stretches as it moves. The distance it crosses grows even as it journeys. Light itself is stretched thin, its color deepening toward red. And so galaxies at the farthest reaches of the universe appear red-shifted, their light drawn out by space's expansion. This quiet stretching changes everything. It means the universe is not static, not frozen in timeless stillness, but dynamic, evolving, breathing. It means that the night sky is not a ceiling, but an unfolding story. It means that the canvas you gaze upon tonight will not be the same billions of years from now. Galaxies that are visible now may one day drift so far away that their light will never reach Earth again. Consider what this means for your place here. You are part of a universe not fixed, but alive in time. You are a witness to a chapter of its unfolding. And though your own life is but a fleeting moment compared to cosmic ages, your awareness allows you to sense the flow of this grand motion. The science may seem vast, but the feeling is simple. Expansion is not chaos, it is rhythm. Like a tide that pulls gently at every shore, like a breath that fills lung, like ripples spreading outward in still water. You do not need to solve its equations tonight. You need only to rest in its truth. Everything drifts, everything widens, everything stretches with the universe. There is another wonder hidden here. The expansion is not just out there, it is also in here. The atoms that make your body were once close together, pressed into an early universe far denser than today. Over billions of years, they traveled outward with the cosmic flow, gathering into stars, into planets, into oceans, into life. Without expansion, there would be no space for galaxies to form, no room for Earth to cool, no vastness in which life could breathe. You are not simply carried by expansion. You are possible because of it. So as you float here, imagine the galaxies drifting like lanterns on a dark river. They move apart not in haste, but with the inevitability of current. Some galaxies travel so far from each other that, from their own perspectives, they may never meet again. Distances become unbridgeable. Light itself cannot cross the ever-widening gulf. There is a quiet poignancy in this truth. The universe you see tonight is temporary, a view that belongs to this moment in cosmic history. Future beings on distant worlds or even here on Earth may see a night sky that has changed, emptier, with galaxies vanished beyond reach. You, here and now, glimpse a richness they may never know. And yet, instead of sadness, this realization brings a strange comfort. For it shows how precious awareness is, how fleeting and miraculous it is to witness a sky brimming with galaxies before they slip beyond the horizon of sight. The expansion continues, faster than intuition expects, yet gentle enough to lull you in this moment. And the mystery remains. What is dark energy, this invisible breath that drives galaxies apart? Is it a property of space itself, woven into its very fabric? Is it something new, something our minds cannot yet imagine? Or is it a whisper of deeper laws hidden still beneath the silence? For now, science does not answer fully. And that is part of the beauty. The not knowing invites wonder. It lets you rest not in certainty, but in curiosity. As you drift, you realize that the question itself is a kind of lullaby. What stretches the universe? What unseen current carries everything outward? What breath sustains the canvas? Your eyelids grow heavy. The galaxies continue their slow dance, unhurried, graceful, eternal from your perspective. You are cradled in motion so vast it feels still, like floating on an ocean whose waves are too broad to notice except in glimpses. And as you sink deeper into calm, a gentle thought begins to form. If the universe stretches endlessly, what shape does it take? Does it curve back upon itself like the surface of a balloon? Or does it extend forever, boundless, without edge? Is infinity a closed loop or an open road? Last lines. You drift with galaxies carried apart, listening to the breath of expansion. And in this vast stretching, a new question glows quietly. What shape, if any, does the universe truly hold? Chapter 3. The Forgotten Constant. The expansion continues, galaxies carried apart as though resting on an invisible tide. And with this widening, your thoughts drift toward a curious story, a story about a number scribbled by a hand that once reshaped our understanding of the cosmos. The hand belonged to Albert Einstein. When he first wrote down his equations for general relativity, they described how matter and energy curve space and time, how gravity is not a force pulling at a distance but the shape of the stage itself. Yet those equations suggested something unsettling, a universe that could not remain static. It would either expand or contract. But Einstein, like many of his contemporaries, believed the cosmos must be eternal and unchanging, a great firmament holding steady across the ages. To preserve that vision, he added a term into his equations, a carefully chosen number. He called it the cosmological constant. With it, gravity's pull and the constant's repulsive effect could balance, keeping the universe stable and fixed. It was elegant, but history had other plans. In the 1920s, Edwin Hubble observed that galaxies were receding, the universe expanding. The very possibility Einstein had tried to cancel out was revealed as truth. The constant seemed unnecessary, even embarrassing. Einstein later dismissed it as his greatest blunder. Yet now, as you drift in the silence of space, you realize how strange this story is. For perhaps it was not a blunder at all. Perhaps it was a glimpse of something real, something we now call dark energy. You breathe, and the thought settles gently. A mistake or a foreshadowing? Sometimes the difference is only time. Imagine space itself not as an empty void, but as fabric with hidden tension. Like a stretched sheet, it holds energy even where no stars or galaxies shine. This energy does not flicker like light or press like air. Instead, it exerts a subtle pressure, pushing outward, woven into the structure of the cosmos itself. It is invisible, silent, and yet it drives galaxies apart. This idea feels almost paradoxical. Emptiness that is not truly empty, a vacuum that has weight. When you picture a vacuum, you might imagine pure nothingness, a hollow absence, but quantum physics tells another story. Even the emptiest space trembles with fluctuations, tiny sparks of energy appearing and vanishing, like fireflies blinking in the dark. Space hums with potential, a restless background noise too subtle for the eye to see. Could Einstein's constant have been pointing toward this? A mathematical whisper that empty space carries within it an irreducible energy, a pressure that does not fade? Scientists today cannot say for certain, but the similarity is striking. What Einstein once crossed out may, in some form, describe the very energy responsible for the universe's accelerating expansion. You pause here, feeling the poetry of it. A mistake that becomes a door, a number erased only to return decades later in new light. Science is not a straight path. It winds, it stumbles, it doubles back. And often it is in those stumbles that hidden truths reveal themselves. What feels like failure can later shine as intuition that simply arrived before its time. Lean closer now in your mind's eye. Imagine you are gazing at a patch of deep, starless sky. At first it looks black, silent, vacant. But then you sense it differently. Beneath that darkness there is density. Not of matter, not of stars, but of energy itself, an invisible pressure, faint but persistent, stretching the very frame of space. The cosmological constant is not a thing you can hold. It is a property of reality itself. Like the quiet background of a song, it plays even when no instrument is heard. And as you listen, you begin to sense its paradoxical presence, a constant that both hides and reveals, a silence that shapes the loudest motions of galaxies. You drift deeper, and with each breath, the idea becomes gentler. You need not solve the equations. It is enough to feel the essence of what they suggest, that even in the most desolate reaches, emptiness is alive with possibility. Think of a desert, at first glance barren and empty, yet beneath the sand, seeds wait, hidden roots spread, life hums just below the threshold of sight. The vacuum of space may be much the same, a desert of stars above, but humming with unseen energy that guides the growth of the whole. And what does this mean for you floating here? It means that nothing is truly empty. Even silence has weight. Even absence hums with presence. When you pause, when you rest in stillness, you are not falling into void, but into a fullness too subtle to name. Einstein's constant reminds you that reality often hides deeper layers, that what seems like an error may be an unfinished chapter, that what feels like nothing may, in truth, hold everything. You drift, calm in this thought. The universe stretches, galaxies slide away, yet beneath their motion lies a constant, steady and quiet. It does not flicker with drama. It does not announce itself with sound. It is simply there, shaping the story without applause. And you realize perhaps that is how many truths work. Not in thunder, but in whispers. Not in clarity at first glance, but in patterns that unfold slowly across time. Your eyes close. The stars are still scattered around you, yet your attention lingers on the space between them, the silent fabric that holds them all. That fabric is not empty. It carries its own mystery, its own quiet presence, a forgotten constant remembered. And you wonder gently, if the vacuum itself is alive with energy, then what other secrets might be hidden in the silence? Last lines. The galaxies drift, carried by an unseen push, while space itself whispers with hidden strength, and you, still floating, begin to lean toward a deeper question. What lies within the smallest places, where even emptiness trembles with light? Chapter 4. Ripples of light, echoes of the past. The silence remains vast and tender, filled with the steady widening of the universe. Galaxies continue to drift apart, carried by the expansion you have been watching. Yet if you lean deeper into time, far beyond stars, beyond galaxies, beyond even the first clusters of matter, you arrive at a dawn so ancient it feels almost unreachable. And yet, it left behind a light. This light is not the bright blaze of a star. It is not the golden wash of a sunrise. It is far gentler, stretched into microwaves by billions of years of expansion. It is called the cosmic microwave background, and it is the afterglow of the universe's earliest moment. Imagine the cosmos as a newborn. At first, it was hot, dense, opaque, light trapped in a crowded soup of particles. Photons could not travel freely. They were constantly scattered, colliding, absorbed, re-emitted. The universe was a stormy ocean of energy, restless and blinding. But then, after about 380,000 years, a blink in cosmic terms, the universe cooled enough for particles to settle into atoms. Suddenly the fog lifted. Light was free to travel. That first light has never stopped moving. You close your eyes and sense it, not with sight, but with imagination. A glow, faint but universal, stretched across the entire sky. No matter where you look, it is there, a soft echo of the first dawn. Scientists discovered this glow almost by accident. In the 1960s, two engineers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, were working on a radio antenna. They kept detecting a faint hiss of noise, a background signal that would not disappear no matter how they adjusted the equipment. At first, they suspected pigeon droppings inside the antenna. But when the noise persisted, they realized it was not a flaw. It was the cosmos itself, whispering. They had stumbled upon the afterglow of the Big Bang. You imagine it, a faint, steady hum of light stretched to microwave frequencies, bathing the Earth from all directions. It is not visible to your eyes, but if you could tune them like a radio, you would hear the entire universe glowing softly. Even now, every time you turn on a television and see static, a tiny fraction of that fuzz is this ancient afterglow. Ripples of the universe's first light brushing across your senses. The poetry of it lingers, a fire long extinguished, yet its embers still glow. A dawn billions of years past, yet its light still touches you now. But this light is not uniform. It carries ripples, tiny variations in temperature and density as delicate as 1 part in 100,000. These ripples are like fingerprints of the early universe, preserved in the background glow. They tell us that the young cosmos was not perfectly smooth. It had slight clumps, slight differences, and those small differences grew under the pull of gravity into the galaxies, stars, and planets we see today. You pause to take that in. Every star you have ever seen, every planet that ever formed, every breath you now take, All of it traces back to those faint ripples in the ancient glow. Without them, the universe would have remained a uniform haze, no galaxies, no life, no you. The ripples were lullabies written across the sky, long before there were ears to hear them. And now scientists read them with telescopes, mapping the background glow in exquisite detail. Satellites like COBE, WMAP, and Planck have revealed the pattern, a mottled sky of faint hot and cold spots, like a cosmic watercolor painting. From those patterns, scientists can measure the age of the universe, its composition, even its geometry. They can glimpse how much of it is ordinary matter, how much is dark matter, how much is dark energy. They can confirm that the universe is flat on large scales, as though space itself stretches without curvature. And in the fine details of those ripples, they find hints of something even more mysterious, a whisper of inflation. Inflation, the idea that in the very first fraction of a second, the universe expanded faster than light, ballooning in size beyond comprehension. This sudden growth would have stretched quantum fluctuations into the seeds of galaxies. And the cosmic microwave background, with its ripples, may still carry the imprint of that first breathtaking expansion. You drift with this thought, letting it settle like a feather. Imagine it, quantum fluctuations, smaller than atoms, blown up into vast structures that span billions of light years. The tiniest tremors amplified into the grand architecture of the cosmos. From near nothing, everything. The background glow is like a photograph of the universe as an infant. It is not sharp, not detailed, but soft and grainy, filled with hints of what would come. And as you rest with it, you realize you are gazing not only into the past, but into the origin of every star, every galaxy, every moment of wonder you have ever known. Even here in the silence of bedtime thought, you are touched by those ancient ripples. They are not gone. They fill the air around you, bathing your body in their gentle glow. You cannot feel them, but they are there, woven into the background of existence. Every breath you take is steeped in their presence. Consider how delicate the balance is. A ripple slightly larger or smaller, and the universe might have evolved differently. Too smooth, and no galaxies would have formed. Too clumpy, and everything might have collapsed too quickly. Yet here you are, in a cosmos that found its way to stars, to life, to awareness. This thought is both humbling and comforting. It shows you that the story of the universe is not just written in grand strokes, but in subtle whispers, that the faintest variations can grow into worlds, into oceans, into consciousness, that what looks like static may be the very key to creation. And as you rest in this truth, you feel the calmness of scale. The cosmos does not hurry. It lets ripples grow slowly, over billions of years, into galaxies that shine in the night sky. And you too are allowed to grow slowly, to let your own ripples of thought unfold in their time. The cosmic microwave background reminds you that the universe remembers. Even the earliest light is not lost, but carried forward, stretched gently across time. It whispers that nothing truly vanishes. It only transforms. Light becomes longer in wavelength. Ripples become galaxies. Silence becomes song. You breathe with it now, slow and even. Inhale, the faint embers of creation. Exhale, the ripples that became your world. And in this rhythm, you sense a hidden hand, not in the mystical sense, but in the delicate laws of physics themselves. Laws that allow structure to arise, that guide chaos into order, that let galaxies bloom from faint ripples of heat. The lullaby continues. Scientists still listen. They search for polarization patterns in the background glow, hoping to confirm the fingerprints of inflation. They tune their instruments to frequencies your ears cannot hear, translating silence into maps, static into stories. Each pixel of their sky maps carries billions of years of history. Each ripple is a page from the universe's first book. And as you imagine those maps, painted with faint blues and reds, you realize something profound. The universe is not mute. It has been speaking all along. The language is subtle, written not in words but in ripples of light. And if you lean close enough with patience and curiosity, you can begin to hear what it has been saying since the dawn of time. You float here surrounded by the afterglow, The galaxies continue their slow drift, but behind them, beneath them, there is always this gentle background, steady and faithful. It is the oldest light you will ever touch, and it touches you now, carrying the story of beginnings. And still one question lingers, quiet and persistent. If the universe remembers in light, does it also remember in darkness? If ripples in the glow reveal so much, what secrets might be hidden in the places where light cannot go? Last lines. The faint afterglow hums across the sky, carrying memories of the first dawn. And as you listen, you begin to wonder, what deeper stories lie in the darkness, where light cannot reach, yet gravity still weaves its silent thread. Chapter 5. Galaxies in Slow Ballet. The faint afterglow still hums across the sky, whispering of beginnings. Yet as the afterglow fades in your mind's eye, your gaze drifts forward through time. Galaxies born from those early ripples have taken their places upon the expanding stage. They are not scattered randomly, but arranged in delicate clusters and threads, weaving a cosmic web that stretches across the universe. Imagine the night sky widen to its grandest scale. Galaxies do not stand alone. They gather in families, clusters, and superclusters, some spanning hundreds of millions of light years. Within these gatherings, each galaxy sways in the grip of its neighbors, pulled by the invisible cords of gravity. You begin to see it as a ballet. Not a dance rushed or hurried, but one stretched across ages. Each step, each turn is so slow that no human eye could notice the movement. Yet if you could watch over billions of years, you would see galaxies spiral, draw close, collide, merge, and separate again. Gravity is the choreographer here. Its pull is steady, unrelenting, subtle. It gathers stars into galaxies, galaxies into clusters, clusters into webs. When two galaxies approach, they do not simply crash. They curve around one another, their shapes distorted like dancers leaning into embrace. Their stars mostly pass without collision, for the spaces between them are vast, yet their gas clouds collide and ignite new bursts of stars. From the meeting of giants, new brilliance is born. Pause, and picture two spiral galaxies swirling together. Their arms stretch and twist, flung outward by tidal forces, like ribbons trailing in a slow, graceful twirl. Over hundreds of millions of years, they merge into one, forming a new galaxy, reshaped yet alive with fresh stars. This is not destruction, but transformation. The ballet of galaxies is never final. It is an ongoing rhythm, a conversation between gravity's embrace and the openness of space. Yet gravity is not alone in shaping this dance. Dark energy, the quiet force that drives the universe's expansion, plays the counterpoint. Where gravity pulls galaxies toward one another, dark energy pushes clusters apart, widening the gulf between distant families of stars. It is as though one force invites closeness while the other insists on distance. The tension between them is subtle but profound. Within a cluster, gravity wins, binding galaxies together in tight embrace. But on larger scales, dark energy prevails, pulling clusters apart, scattering superclusters across the cosmic web. The result is a universe where local gatherings thrive, even as the whole stretches wider. You breathe with this rhythm. Inhale, gravity pulling close. Exhale, dark energy pushing away. A cosmic breath shaping the slow ballet you now watch. This ballet is not only vast, but beautiful in its patterns. Imagine looking at the universe on its largest scales, not as stars or planets, but as filaments of light spanning unimaginable distances. The galaxies align like pearls on strings, forming threads and walls. Between them lie enormous voids, expanses nearly empty, silent as pause between notes. The cosmic web resembles lace, delicate yet strong, woven from both gravity's pull and expansion's push. And you, floating here, become aware of your own place in this dance. The Milky Way itself is part of a local group of galaxies bound together by gravity. Nearby lies the Andromeda Galaxy, spiraling slowly toward us. In about 4 billion years, these two giants will merge, their stars mingling in a long, slow embrace. It will be a dance so gradual that no single being will witness its full unfolding. Yet its beauty will shape the skies of distant futures. Picture it, a new galaxy, sometimes called Milkomeda, born from this meeting. The stars of both galaxies will trace vast arcs, some flung outward, some drawn inward, all choreographed by gravity's invisible hand. To future eyes, the night sky will blaze with more stars, brighter and nearer than today. The thought soothes you. Even collisions in the universe are slow dances, not sudden catastrophes. Even endings are new beginnings. Science helps us glimpse the steps of this ballet through telescopes and simulations. Computers model the orbits of galaxies, the flow of time, the tug of gravity. The patterns that emerge are not chaotic but harmonious, like dancers following steps set long ago. And yet, each encounter is unique. Each swirl of stars a one-time performance, never to repeat exactly. As you drift deeper, the scale humbles you. A single rotation of a galaxy can take hundreds of millions of years. A single collision between galaxies can last billions. What feels to you like eternity is, for the cosmos, just one turn in the ballet. The slowness itself is calming. The universe is not in a hurry. Its movements are patient, deliberate, unhurried by clocks. And in that patience, you find rest. Now imagine zooming into a galaxy cluster. Hundreds, sometimes thousands, of galaxies share the same gravitational well, circling and weaving like dancers around a stage. At the cluster's center often lies a giant elliptical galaxy, swollen by countless mergers, luminous with ancient stars. Around it, smaller galaxies orbit, drawn in, sometimes colliding, sometimes escaping. Between them flows hot gas, invisible to the eye but glowing in X-rays, filling the space with unseen light. Clusters themselves are bound into larger structures, superclusters, vast gatherings strung along the filaments of the cosmic web. Yet beyond a certain scale, dark energy pulls them apart, ensuring the universe never collapses fully into one clump. The ballet has balance. Gravity binds, dark energy releases. The dance does not end, it only shifts in rhythm. As you watch, you notice how quiet it all is. Galaxies swirl and merge without sound. The ballet unfolds in silence. The steps measured not in seconds but in billions of years. And yet, the silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning, with the simple fact of motion, with the steady interplay of forces that shape everything. There is comfort in knowing that you too are shaped by this balance. Your very existence depends on gravity pulling matter together, forming stars that forge the atoms in your body. And it depends on expansion making room for galaxies to form, for stars to shine without collapsing into endless density. You are a child of both embrace and release, a dancer carried by the same forces that guide galaxies. You linger with this awareness. The ballet is not just out there. It is mirrored within you, in the push and pull of breath, in the rhythms of your own life. Gravity and dark energy, attraction and release. These are not opposites, but partners in the same dance. The galaxies continue their slow steps, unhurried, eternal in their grace. You watch them swirl, merge, separate, and reform. You feel the calm weight of gravity, the gentle pressure of expansion. And you realize that this ballet is not chaos but harmony, two invisible hands shaping everything together. Your eyes grow heavy. The universe's patience seeps into you, a reminder that there is no rush, that even the grandest dances unfold slowly, in their time, that what is drawn together may separate, and what separates may one day embrace again. And as you sink into rest, one final question flickers quietly. If galaxies dance in clusters and webs, what holds the stage beneath them? What unseen matter provides the scaffolding for their steps, the hidden framework of the ballet? Last lines. The galaxies sway and merge, slow as breath, graceful as tide, and you, drifting with them, feel the quiet question rising. What is this unseen scaffold, this invisible thread upon which the ballet depends? Chapter 6, Measuring the Invisible. The galaxies still drift in their slow ballet, graceful as tides, bound to unseen scaffolds of matter. You have felt the pull of gravity, the push of expansion, the tension between embrace and release. Now your gaze shifts again, not at clusters of galaxies, not at webs spanning billions of light years, but at single points of light, stars, or more precisely, the way some stars end their lives. There are stars so massive that when they collapse, they explode with unimaginable brilliance, outshining entire galaxies for brief moments. These explosions are called supernovae. They are rare, scattered like sudden sparks across the cosmos, yet they carry secrets written into their fading glow. For astronomers, they are not just fireworks. They are lighthouses, cosmic beacons that guide our way through darkness. Among these are a special kind, type 1, a supernovae. They occur when a white dwarf star, small and dense, steals matter from a companion star until it tips over a critical mass. At that moment, a runaway reaction ignites, tearing the star apart in a blaze so consistent that it can serve as a standard candle. Each type I shines with nearly the same peak brightness. By comparing how bright it appears to us with how bright we know it truly is, astronomers can measure its distance. Imagine it, a flare of light in a distant galaxy, so steady in its signature that it becomes a ruler stretched across space. With these lighthouses, scientists can trace how fast the universe expands, not just nearby, but far into the past. You picture telescopes turning their glass eyes outward, catching faint flickers of ancient supernovae. Each photon that falls upon a detector has traveled millions, even billions, of years to arrive. Each carries a message, not only of where the star once shone, but of how much the universe has stretched since then. As you lean closer, you notice something surprising in those messages. The light is not only faint because of distance, it is also stretched, its color shifted toward red, drawn thinner and thinner by the expansion of space. The greater the red shift, the farther and older the source. By measuring this stretching, astronomers can map how expansion has changed over time. For decades, scientists assumed expansion should be slowing. Gravity, pulling on all matter, ought to drag galaxies back together, slowing the outward flow. Yet in the 1990s, two teams observing distant supernovae discovered the opposite. The supernovae appeared dimmer than expected, not because they were farther away in distance, but because the universe had expanded more than anyone anticipated. Expansion was not slowing, it was accelerating. You pause, letting the revelations settle like ripples in still water. Accelerating, as though some hidden energy were pushing galaxies apart faster and faster. That hidden energy is what we now call dark energy, a name that admits our ignorance, yet acknowledges its presence. Through measurements of faint supernova, its reality emerged, not as a guess, but as a necessity to explain what the universe was doing before our eyes. The discovery was profound, almost unsettling. Imagine expecting a ball thrown upward to slow and fall back, only to find it speeds away instead, carried by a force you cannot see. The universe, once thought to be gently decelerating, was instead racing outward, pushed by something woven into space itself. You breathe with the weight of it, invisible, intangible, yet undeniable, revealed not by direct sight but by careful listening to the light of dying stars. Telescopes keep watch, their instruments tuned to faint whispers across cosmic time. Some sit atop mountains, lifted above the blur of Earth's atmosphere. Others float in orbit, free from clouds and turbulence. They gather photons with mirrors and sensors, building light curves, recording how a supernova brightens and fades. Each curve is a story, the rise of fire, the slow dimming into silence, the distance carried in its fading. And with each story, the pattern becomes clearer. The acceleration is not an illusion. The invisible energy is not optional. It is written into the data, into the fabric of what we observe. You linger on the poetry of this, that the universe confesses its secrets not in loud announcements, but in the flicker of a single star's last breath. That by listening carefully, patiently, humanity has learned the cosmos is not merely coasting, but driven by a hidden current. The measurements continue. They are compared with models, checked against maps of the cosmic microwave background, tested with the distribution of galaxies. Each piece points to the same conclusion. Most of the universe is not ordinary matter, not even dark matter, but this mysterious dark energy, smooth, persistent, filling space itself. Think of it as an ocean without waves, a pressure that does not fade, a whisper present everywhere. You cannot bottle it. You cannot shield against it. It is as if the very geometry of space carries a gentle, steady push, yet its nature remains elusive. Is it Einstein's cosmological constant, reappearing after nearly being forgotten? Or is it something more dynamic, a field that shifts and changes, an energy with rhythms we have not yet measured? For now, the data does not decide. For now, the mystery lingers, inviting wonder. But the certainty is this: supernovae, those cosmic lighthouses, have shown us the invisible. They have given us proof of what cannot otherwise be seen. They remind us that even in death, stars carry meaning. Even in fading, light speaks. You let that truth sink in. Each measurement is a dialogue between human patience and cosmic time. Each flicker of light bridges billions of years, carrying whispers across the gulf. And in those whispers, the universe admits what it is made of. Resting here, you feel a kinship with the astronomers who watch the skies. They too lean into silence, waiting for light that will tell them something new. They too drift with galaxies, seeking meaning in the slow dance of stars. And you realize measuring the invisible is not only the work of telescopes, it is also the work of hearts. To sit in stillness, to notice what is faint, to believe that what cannot be seen may still be real. This too is a form of science, a form of wonder. Your breath steadies, the supernovae fade, the data gathers, and with it, the invisible becomes more certain, more undeniable. Not fully understood, but real enough to shape the fate of the cosmos. And still the question deepens. If dark energy is so vast, so dominant, then what does it mean for the future? Will the universe stretch forever, galaxies slipping away beyond sight? Will expansion tear even atoms apart? Or is there some balance still unseen? Last lines. The lighthouses fade, their messages gathered, their whispers now part of you. And as you drift, a new thought rises gently. What future awaits in a cosmos ruled by this invisible hand? Chapter 7, The Pressure of Nothingness. The supernovae fade, their last flickers sinking into the deep silence. Their whispers still linger in your mind, the truth they revealed both unsettling and calming. The universe is not merely coasting outward, it is accelerating. Something unseen is pushing, always pushing, and the cosmos is responding like a vast sail carried by a wind no one can touch. You drift in that thought for a while, the stillness around you filled with a curious weight. If gravity is a hand that pulls, then dark energy is a hand that pushes. Not hard, not violent, but constant. Always there. Gentle, yet unstoppable. Imagine empty space itself pressing against you, like the faintest breath at your back, urging you forward. You cannot lean into it. You cannot escape it. This pressure is everywhere, and it acts not on objects alone, but on the fabric of space itself. It is not a force in the ordinary sense, not like the pull of Earth beneath your feet or the magnetism of a compass needle. Instead, it is woven into emptiness. Here is where the mind resists, yet wonder persists. How can nothing carry weight? How can emptiness press outward? But the truth whispered by equations and confirmed by light is this: even a vacuum is not truly empty. In quantum theory, empty space teems with restless possibility, fields flickering, particles appearing and vanishing too quickly to be caught. A foam of energy, invisible yet unending. Einstein once placed a constant into his equations, a cosmological term that allowed space to hold itself up against collapse. He thought it a mistake, but perhaps it was not. Perhaps he glimpsed without knowing this quiet pressure of nothingness. You picture space like a vast, invisible fabric. Gravity pulls it inward, folding, tugging, drawing galaxies together. But dark energy is like a steady tension woven into the fabric, urging it to stretch, to widen, not tearing, not snapping, but gently lengthening without pause. You breathe with that rhythm. Inhale, gravity's embrace. Exhale, dark energies release. The universe itself breathing through you. Scientists describe this pressure with equations, yet you feel it more like a presence. Silent, calm, unwavering. Unlike matter, it does not clump or gather. Unlike radiation, it does not thin as space expands. Instead, it remains constant, uniform, serene. As galaxies drift apart, more space is created, and with it, more of this invisible pressure. Expansion feeds itself, the fabric stretching wider, the pressure persisting. And what does such persistence mean? It means the universe has no intention of slowing. It means distant galaxies will not only drift away, but race away faster with time, their light stretched thinner until they vanish from view altogether. The pressure of nothingness ensures a solitude written into the future. Picture it. Billions of years from now, the night sky will empty. The galaxies we now see clustered across space will fade beyond the cosmic horizon, their light too stretched to reach us. Future eyes, if any remain, will gaze at skies nearly bare, unable to know the vast ballet that once unfolded. This is the quiet insistence of dark energy, not a shout, not a storm, but a whisper that never ceases, rewriting the story of everything. Yet even as you float here, sensing its vastness, questions stir. What is this pressure? A cosmological constant, fixed and eternal, or something more elusive, a dynamic field shifting and evolving with time? Astronomers watch supernovae, trace ripples in the cosmic background, measure the clustering of galaxies, all in search of an answer. But the data so far speaks only of certainty and presence, not in nature. Still, you find beauty in the not knowing, that the universe hides some of its truths behind silence, revealing only enough to spark wonder. That science is a lantern carried forward, lighting small patches of darkness, never the whole. You drift closer to the image of a star exploding, a supernova flaring. Its light, stretched by expansion, carried the first hints of acceleration. But beyond those hints lies a deeper story. Not only are galaxies fleeing, they are being urged to flee by the fabric of space itself. This is not emptiness as absence, but emptiness as presence. Not nothing, but a quiet something. Let your mind wander into metaphor. Think of a blank canvas stretched tight. Though it appears still, it exerts tension across its frame, shaping whatever is painted upon it. So too does space exert its own hidden tension, shaping the universe painted upon it. Or imagine a silent ocean. Even without waves, it presses outward equally in all directions. Submerge yourself and you feel it. Gentle, invisible, everywhere. Dark energy is this pressure of the cosmic ocean, filling every void, urging expansion without end. The future shaped by this ocean is one of widening solitude, yet there is no sadness in it, only inevitability. Just as night follows day, expansion follows the pressure of nothingness. You close your eyes and feel the scale of it. Not only galaxies and stars, but atoms themselves exist within a universe carried outward. For now, gravity holds galaxies together, holds stars in their burning, holds planets in their dance. But if the pressure grows unchecked, if it is not constant but increasing, then even these bonds may one day fail. Galaxies torn apart, stars ripped from galaxies, atoms stretched thin until even their particles drift apart. Scientists call this possibility the Big Rip. It is only one vision of what may come, yet it reminds you of the power hidden in what seems like nothing, a whisper strong enough to unmake everything, but perhaps the pressure is constant, unchanging. In that case, the universe will expand forever. Galaxies vanishing one by one, stars burning out, leaving behind a cosmos cold and dark, yet still stretching to wider. This vision is quieter, slower, more patient. The heat death of the universe, a future where time continues but change fades, where energy thins into stillness. You rest in these visions, not as predictions to fear, but as lullabies of possibility. The future is written in whispers, not shouts, in gentle pressures, not sudden storms. The beauty of it is not in certainty, but in wonder. That something as subtle as the pressure of boundlessness can hold sway over everything, from galaxies to the fate of time itself. That you, in your smallness, can even ask these questions. You linger, watching invisible hands at work, gravity pulling in, dark energy pressing out. The universe itself balanced between two quiet truths. And in that balance, every star, every world, every breath has its moment. Here in this stillness, you realize to measure the invisible is one thing, to live within it is another. You are not apart from the pressure of nothingness. You are carried by it, shaped by it, stretched outward with every passing moment. Just as galaxies flee, so do you drift, part of the same widening fabric. It feels both humbling and tender to know that even in silence, even in what appears empty, there is a presence guiding everything. To know that the future is not fixed, but flowing. That emptiness is not absence, but the soft insistence of possibility. Your breath slows. The pressure remains, steady as a tide. You find yourself not resisting, but yielding. As galaxies yield, as stars yield, as even time itself will yield. And in that yielding, you sense the next question arising. If emptiness can hold such power, what role does the hidden matter, the unseen scaffold of galaxies, play in this story? How does the invisible framework of dark matter balance with the invisible pressure of dark energy? Last lines, you float in the gentle push of nothingness, carried outward on a tide that never rests. And as the cosmos breathes through you, one thought lingers. What is the hidden scaffold that holds galaxies together against this endless release? Chapter 8. The Possible Fates of the Cosmos. The pressure of nothingness lingers, steady and soft, a whisper you cannot turn away from. It presses outward, reshaping the universe, scattering galaxies across widening space. You float with it, carried like a leaf on a hidden tide, and with every breath, the question grows, where does this tide lead? The future of the cosmos is not written in stone, but in possibility. It unfolds like a map traced in faint lines, each path branching into another. The choices are not ours, nor are they choices at all, only outcomes of laws inscribed in the fabric of space. Yet by gazing into the patterns, you glimpse potential endings, each one vast and humbling. The first path is quiet, almost tender. Expansion continues, not with violence, but with patience. Galaxies drift farther and farther apart, the light between them stretching thinner. The stars, faithful in their burning, shine for billions of years, but even stars must one day grow cold. Picture it, red dwarfs, the longest lived of all stars, glowing faintly as the last candles of the cosmos. They endure for trillions of years, their light dim yet steady. But even they exhaust their fuel, fading into black dwarfs, cold remnants, silent spheres drifting through night. In this vision, time itself seems to slow. Galaxies too far apart to see one another float in solitude. Stars vanish, leaving behind corpses of matter, white dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes. These remnants persist but without light, without warmth. A universe of shadows. Scientists call this the heat death, though it is less fiery than the name suggests. It is not an inferno but a gradual dimming, the cosmos cooling toward uniform stillness. Energy spreads thin, so thin it cannot be harnessed. The arrow of time stretches forward, but change grows faint. The universe does not end in drama but in silence, an ocean where ripples have ceased. You linger in this vision, strangely soothed by its slowness. No sudden collapse, no violent tearing, only a quiet fading, a long exhale into stillness. But there is another path, less gentle. If dark energy is not constant, if its pressure grows with time, then expansion may accelerate without limit. Galaxies would not only drift apart, they would race apart. Stars within galaxies would be torn from their orbits, planets from their stars. Even atoms, once thought unbreakable, would be stretched until their bonds failed. This fate is called the Big Rip, a name sharp and sudden, yet its unfolding is still slow by human reckoning. Billions of years would pass before galaxies unravel. Only near the end would the tearing quicken, racing from clusters to galaxies, from stars to planets, from atoms to particles. Until all structure is undone, you shiver at the thought, not from fear, but from awe, that the same soft pressure you felt as a hand on your back could, if it grows, unmake everything. That nothingness itself could prove stronger than matter's most intimate bonds. The Big Rip is uncertain, dependent on the true nature of dark energy, yet even as theory it reveals the strangeness of the cosmos. Endings are not only about fading, but also about tearing, about possibility carried to extremes. And then there is a third path. Expansion may not continue forever. What if dark energy changes, or fades, or reverses? What if gravity, patient and steady, reclaims its role? In this vision, expansion slows, halts, and turns inward. Galaxies that once drifted apart begin to fall back together. Imagine the sky brightening as galaxies return, collisions filling space with bursts of light. Over billions of years, the cosmos contracts, shrinking toward its beginning. Stars ignite in fierce waves as matter compresses, until at last, all space, all energy, all matter collapses into a single point. This fate is called the Big Crunch. It mirrors the beginning, folding the universe back into density as though time itself were a circle. From expansion to contraction, from birth to end, the cosmos returns to where it started. But even this may not be the final word. Some imagine that from the crunch, a new expansion could follow, another big bang, another universe unfolding from the ashes of the last, endings folding into beginnings, cycles without end. The possibilities stretch before you like paths across a desert, shimmering in heat. Heat death, big rip, big crunch, silence, tearing rebirth. each one vast, each one ungraspable, yet all rooted in the same quiet truth. Dark energy decides. The invisible hand that pushes space outward will shape the fate of everything. You find yourself leaning not toward answers, but toward acceptance, that the future of the cosmos is uncertain, that certainty itself is not promised. Perhaps that is the gift of wonder, not to know the ending, but to dwell in the possibility. Let your mind wander further. Suppose the heat death comes. Does the end of stars mean the end of meaning? Or does meaning persist in memory, in the fact that stars once shone, that galaxies once danced, that you once gazed at them? Even silence carries story. Or suppose the big rip unfolds. Even as bonds break, might there be beauty in watching the last sparks of matter, the final unraveling of structure? The poetry of endings is not diminished by their finality. And if the big crunch awaits, perhaps there is comfort in cycles, that nothing is lost, only transformed, that even universes are reborn, like phoenixes rising from their own ashes. Each path is a meditation, a way of resting in the vastness of possibility. You need not choose. You need only drift, letting the possibilities wash over you like waves. Science too drifts with you. Astronomers measure supernovae, map the cosmic web, trace the microwave afterglow. Their instruments refine the probabilities, narrowing paths, adjusting predictions, yet uncertainty remains. For now, dark energy is a veil. It reveals enough to shape, but not enough to conclude. And so the cosmos becomes a question without a final answer. A story still being written, its last chapter unknown. You rest in that unknowing, for there is peace in mystery. As you breathe, you notice the rhythm again. Gravity pulls inward. Dark energy presses outward. The future depends on the balance of two invisible truths. Like tides in endless negotiation, they write the fate of stars and galaxies. You close your eyes, the possibilities swirl not as threats, but as lullabies. Heat death's quiet, big rips unraveling, big crunches return, each one a path the universe may follow, each one a meditation on impermanence. The universe, like life, does not promise permanence, but it does promise beauty. Beauty in its beginnings, beauty in its endings, beauty in the questions it leaves unanswered. And perhaps that is enough. For now you drift. The galaxies widen, the stars burn, the pressure of nothingness remains. And you, floating within it, carry the weight of wonder, knowing the story is not finished, even if it ends. Last lines. The possible fates unfold before you. Quiet fading, sudden unraveling, or a collapse into rebirth. And as you linger in this uncertainty, one final question rises. If the universe itself is impermanent, then what does it mean for us, small beings who dream beneath its stars? Chapter 9, Mirrors in Mathematics. The futures of the cosmos still ripple in your mind. Heat death, big rip, big crunch, vast endings painted by the hand of dark energy. You linger in them, humbled by their scale, aware of how little control we hold. And yet, within that humility, another thought rises. If the universe cannot be touched by hand, perhaps it can be touched by mind. Mathematics becomes your guide. Imagine equations not as cold or lifeless, but as mirrors, surfaces where reality leans close, leaving its reflection. They are windows through which we peer into truths too distant, too immense, or too invisible to reach. Each line of symbols is like a constellation, patterns drawn on a page that point to something beyond themselves. Physicists turn to these mirrors not because they love abstraction for its own sake, but because the universe responds to numbers. Planets orbit according to ellipses that Kepler wrote down centuries ago. Light bends in ways that Einstein etched into curved geometry. Even quantum fields, restless and strange, obey equations scribbled on chalkboards. And so, when dark energy revealed itself through supernovae, the question was not only what it is, but how to write it, how to place its presence into the language of mathematics, so it can be seen, tested, extended. One equation rises again. Einstein's field equations of general relativity. Curvature equals matter and energy. Geometry equals gravity. Within them lies the cosmological constant, L, once dismissed as a mistake. Inserted reluctantly, then abandoned, it returns now as a possible symbol for dark energy. A single letter, lambda, whispering that empty space itself carries weight. You gaze at that lambda, so simple yet so heavy. It is nothing more than a symbol, yet within it sits the fate of the universe. If lambda is constant, the cosmos will expand forever. If it shifts, the story may change. All this hidden in a curve of ink, a line drawn by hand. Other equations unfold, models of quintessence, where dark energy is not constant, but a field, dynamic and evolving. Its pressure and density change with time, its influence growing or fading. Physicists test these models against data, tuning variables, checking curves against the whispers of supernova and the ripples of the cosmic background. Each variation is a mirror angled differently, catching a different glimmer of truth. You sense the delicacy of it. Equations are not the universe itself. They are shadows, approximations, sketches of something vaster. Yet how astonishing that sketches can predict eclipses, guide spacecraft, explain the bending of starlight. Numbers are not truth, but they are close enough to touch truth's edge. Pause here. Imagine yourself in a quiet study. Chalk dust lingers in air. A board stretches across the wall, covered in symbols. Integrals, tensors, variables, lines of logic flowing like rivers. To an untrained eye, it is chaos. To the physicist, it is a map. Not a map of mountains or oceans, but of reality itself. Each equation is a possibility, each variable a clue. Together they form constellations of thought, guiding the mind through spaces the senses cannot reach. You drift with these symbols, letting their rhythm soothe you. Curves, equal signs, letters, simple marks that contain galaxies. The beauty of it is not in their certainty, but in their persistence. Even when mystery remains, mathematics holds a lantern. And yet, numbers do not always satisfy. For every equation written, another question arises. Is dark energy truly constant, or is it a field? Could it emerge from quantum fluctuations, from the zero-point energy of vacuum? If so, why is its value so small compared to what theory predicts? The mismatch is staggering, so vast that some call it the worst calculation in physics. Here lies the paradox. Mathematics reflects truth, but sometimes the mirror distorts. Predictions overshoot reality by factors of trillions. The equations whisper possibilities, but none yet match the full face of the mystery. The mirrors shimmer, but the reflection slips away. You find yourself in the quiet tension between clarity and doubt. Equations can describe how dark energy behaves, but not why it exists. They can predict its influence, but not its essence. It is like seeing ripples on water without knowing what hand cast the stone. Still, the pursuit continues. Physicists write, erase, rewrite. They stretch symbols across pages, test them against data, search for consistency. And though no formula yet unlocks the secret, each attempt brings us closer, narrowing what cannot be, refining what might be. You realize that mathematics is not only about answers, it is also about patience, about holding questions with care, circling them, letting them unfold. Numbers, like lullabies, repeat and echo, steadying the mind in its search. The persistence of this search is a comfort. It means we do not turn away from mystery, but lean toward it again and again, trusting that even partial reflections hold value. Even fragments of truth can guide. Think of the night sky again. Stars are points of light, Yet from them, we infer galaxies, distances, histories. Equations are similar, points of knowledge from which whole universes unfold. They are not complete, yet they are enough to guide the journey. You breathe, letting the rhythm of symbols calm you. Lambda, curvature, density, pressure, words transformed into numbers, numbers into stories. Mathematics becomes poetry written in another tongue when the universe seems willing to answer. And still, the mystery persists. The mirrors show shapes, but never the full face. Numbers reach outward, but the truth remains just beyond their grasp. Perhaps that is their beauty, not in finality, but in striving. You rest with this thought, that even in uncertainty, the language of mathematics binds us to the cosmos, that in every equation lies a quiet act of faith, that reality can be known, that mystery can be approached, that even the invisible has patterns waiting to be seen. Your eyes grow heavy, the chalkboard fades, symbols dissolve into night, the mirrors remain, reflecting not only truth, but wonder. Last lines. You drift among equations like constellations, each one a mirror catching a faint glimmer of the real. And as they fade into silence, another question begins to form. If numbers can reach so far, what of the human heart that writes them? Chapter 10, A Universe That Knows No Rest. The journey has been long, carried across ripples of light, through the weight of nothingness and into the mirrors of mathematics. You have drifted with galaxies, listened to ancient afterglows, leaned into the push of space itself, and now, as the story nears its quiet end, the universe still stretches outward. It does not rest. It does not pause. It simply continues, as though becoming is its only way of being. You breathe slowly and feel how your breath mirrors this expansion. Inhale, space unfolding. Exhale, galaxies drifting further apart. The rhythm is steady, endless. It has been happening long before you, and it will continue long after. To align yourself with it now is to glimpse the patience of eternity. Dark energy is the thread that runs through this fabric. Silent, unseen, but undeniable, it hums softly in the background of everything. You cannot touch it, but you can sense its presence in the widening sky. It is not loud, not dramatic, but gentle, a whisper written into the bones of the cosmos. And what is more calming than this, knowing that the universe does not cling to stasis but flows, always into newness? It does not rush. It does not hurry. It expands in a rhythm so slow that billions of years are its heartbeats. To lie here floating is to rest in that rhythm, as though your body and the universe share the same lullaby. You recall how the story began, with silence and scattered stars, a canvas that seemed still, yet was alive with motion too vast to see. You have followed that motion through Einstein's constant, through faint embers of the cosmic microwave background, through the slow ballet of galaxies. Each step has deepened the mystery rather than solved it. And perhaps that is the point. Answers bring closure, but questions keep the heart awake. The universe knows no rest because it is not finished. It is always unfolding, always rewriting itself. Each galaxy drifting further is a sentence written into the story of time. Each ripple of light from ancient days is a memory carried forward, still alive. Even the vacuum itself is restless, shimmering with energy, unwilling to be truly empty. And so you too need not fear stillness. Even in your quietest moments, there is motion within you, your breath, your heartbeat, the ceaseless dance of atoms in your body. Rest is never the end of motion. It is simply another form of it, gentler, inward. Dark energy teaches this lesson, that the invisible shapes everything. Just as you cannot see the force pushing galaxies apart, you cannot always see the currents guiding your own life. But they are there, gentle, steady, persistent, carrying you forward even when you do not notice. Picture again the galaxies, vast clusters drifting, spirals turning, light spilling across billions of years. They seem impossibly far, yet they obey the same simple truth. Everything moves. Everything stretches outward. There is no center, no single point from which all else runs away. Instead, every place feels like the center, every galaxy watching all others drift apart. From wherever you stand, the universe expands around you. This, too, is a comfort. No matter where you are at the heart of the unfolding. You do not orbit on the margins of existence. You are woven into its center, just as much as any galaxy, any star. Wherever you rest, the story stretches outward around you. Close your eyes, and you can almost hear it. Not a sound, but a sense. A low, steady hum that belongs not to air or vibration, but to the rhythm of expansion itself. The cosmos does not sleep. Even when stars burn out, even when galaxies fade, the space between them continues to grow. And yet, this is not frightening. It is not an endless loss, but an endless becoming. A river that never finds its shore, but always flows, widening. You float in it as easily as in water, supported by its patience. Think of the cosmic microwave background again, the faint afterglow of the first light. It has been traveling for nearly 14 billion years, carrying the memory of the universe's first dawn. And still it moves, stretched thinner with every breath of expansion. The universe is not a single story told once, but a chorus of echoes, each carrying forward, never still. In this thought, a peace settles. You need not finish the story. You need not solve its puzzles. The wonder itself is enough. To know that the universe does not end in silence, but in continuous becoming is to find rest in its motion. You feel your body soften, sinking into this rhythm. The questions you once held, what is dark energy? Why does the cosmos expand? What fate awaits the stars? No longer press for answers. They become like waves, rising and falling, gentle and endless. The mystery is not a weight, but a cradle. Perhaps this is the truest gift of dark energy, not certainty, but wonder, not closure, but openness. It reminds you that the universe is larger than comprehension, and yet intimate enough to match your breath. It whispers that you belong to it, not by solving it, but by resting within it. As your mind drifts towards sleep, you carry this hum with you. Dark energy will not stop. The galaxies will not stop. The universe, vast and tireless, will continue its quiet work. And you, small yet bound to it, can let go, knowing the story carries on. For the cosmos knows no rest. It breathes outward endlessly, a lullaby of becoming. And you, listening, feel your own breath join the song. Last lines. The galaxies drift, the stars cool, and still the fabric stretches. Patient, ceaseless, alive. And as your eyes close, you sink into that rhythm, carried on the quiet breath of a universe that knows no rest.